here among the cats.
And he says, you know who you should interview Ed Seykota. I said, Ed who? He said, Ed Seykota. I said, who's Ed Seykota? Well, he said, Ed is the best trader I know. Now, if you're doing a book on traders and some fellow who's turned 30,000 to 80 million is telling you about the best trader he knows, obviously you're interested. So I said, well, can I speak to him? So he says, well, sure. So he calls Ed and talks to Ed and gives me the phone. I was supposed to head back to New York, but Ed agrees to do the interview, so I say, well, I'll change my plans. I fly out to Nevada. And my original intention was to actually get back the same day, but it turns out I ended up spending the night there and just talking to him all evening. But in any case, Ed Seykota and I kind of see each other every number of years. We end up in the same place. And back about 5 years ago, we were both in Chicago at the same time. We had dinner together, and he was telling me tongue-in-cheek about a dinner he had the previous evening with a fundamental analyst. And he says they went to one of those Chicago steakhouses, the ones with the big steaks and huge knives, and the fundamental analyst is cutting his steak, cutting it a little too aggressively apparently, and the steak knife flips out of his hand, twirls in the air, and they're both watching and lands in his shoe. And Ed turns to the guy and he says, why didn't you move your foot? And the fundamentalist looks back and he says, well, I thought it was going back up. Okay. You get the idea. Cynicism, right? So what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to give you people here who are phenomenally successful using pure fundamental analysis on one hand and complete disdain for technical analysis, and people who have been enormously successful using pure technical analysis and complete cynicism about fundamental analysis, right? So you can't get further apart. It's got to tell you one thing. It's got to tell you there's no single way, there's no single road, there's no single message. If you're looking for that, you haven't even got the right question, let alone the right answer. So I'm going to quote myself. I don't quote myself very often, but I will for one time in this talk. And in one of my books, I used the line because I think it applies to this, and I said, there's a million ways to make money in the markets, and they're unfortunately all very difficult to find. But there are many, many ways. So the first thing to realize is you have to find a path and not to find the path. Okay, that leads us to the first principle. And if you take nothing else out of this talk, if you just take this out of it, it'll be worthwhile, I guarantee you. And that is every trader I ever interviewed, I could say this about. They found a method that fit their personality.
Here among the cats.